I just felt really horrible inside. And so I took a lot of that emotional baggage on, which led me to try to grow my business. But in the meantime, I was addicted to pornography, video games, depression, suicidal tendencies. And it felt like no matter how much I did on the outside, it was never enough on the inside.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm super stoked to have you on today, man.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. So tell us a little bit more about this training. So you train entrepreneurs, you train people in all types of industries. Like, tell us what got you in front of the insurance dudes.
Yeah. So kind of my backstory. My mom went through like 6 divorces. My dad went through like 2. Or now he's on his 3rd. And through those, I went through a lot of emotional upheaval. And I felt like it was all my fault. I just felt really horrible inside. And so I took a lot of that emotional baggage on, which led me to try to grow my business. But in the meantime, I was addicted to pornography, video games, depression, suicidal tendencies. And it felt like no matter how much I did on the outside, it was never enough on the inside. And so through that journey, I became really passionate about how do you actually win in all areas of life without sacrificing the things that are most sacred to you. And for me, as an elite performance coach, I work with all sorts of entrepreneurs, whether it's insurance or businesses online, but anyone who is passionate about what they do, has a business and is striving to make money and leave a legacy, then I teach them how to have it all without losing it all, and how to do that by reprogramming their body, not just the mindset. So yeah, through that, I suffered a lot, went through dirt broke for like several years, struggling, making less than $14,000 a year, got married, and I just had this innate fear that I'm going to repeat the same stuff that my parents went through. So I became really passionate about change and transformation, started studying a ton, working on myself. Fast forward like a year later, applying a lot of these techniques and principles, was able to do over 6 figures, and then started to triple that. And then, we went on our way to making 7 figures, and we started to help people make lasting changes while still thriving in the business. So instead of, hey, I'm going to go crush it in my business, and then they sacrifice their marriage, they sacrifice their health, they sacrifice their sanity, can you actually have it all? And the answer is yes. So we developed a whole methodology of how to do that and changed literally like any type of pattern in your body or mind within minutes or hours, instead of taking years going in circles and self-sabotaging.
I love it. And your method is totally unconventional.
It's totally unconventional.
Totally
way
unconventional.
outside the norm. Yeah.
You've worked on me, and man, I mean, immediately the resistance I felt was gone. But could you maybe go into what got you down this path of like searching for an unconventional way when it's so easy to listen to the normal ways to do things? And how did that happen?
Well, my dad's what's called a clinical kinesiologist. So it's always been a little unconventional in my life. Like, he was known as the witch doctor up on the mountain. And anytime somebody was like dying, they're like, go see Tom up on the mountain, he'll figure it out. And so he always had this negative connotation, but it was always people waited till they were like on their deathbed, and then he'd help them and they'd get better. And so I always wondered, like, how do you make the unconventional normal? Like, how do you make something that people resist become the norm? And that had always been my thing. I also grew up and I was like the only person in my religion in my entire school. I always felt like the outsider, kind of like different and, unknown. And I was like, how do you fit in? How do you become known? And how do you like make an impact without it being weird? Like, just normal. How do you make it natural? So I saw a lot of things that didn't work, and I was very good at learning from other people's failures. So I was like, okay. I was very good at seeing what all my parents did and how to make a marriage fail. I can definitely teach you how to do that. So I was like, okay, here's the step-by-step process every time that they do. So I was like, okay, no, not to do that. No, to do something different. So studied, learned a lot, and same in finances. Like, I was like, I could teach you how to be dirt broke and consistently stay dirt broke. I was like, man, if you want a course on that, I have it. Right? And so back then I was like, I'm really good at being dirt broke. So then I wanted to do something like, I want to teach people how to actually have wealth and create a lot of money. So then I figured that out. And it's always, for me, it's like figuring out what I avoid the most, what's the most difficult thing, and going towards that thing. So if it's like, for me, it was always easy to be dirt broke. So I knew the challenge isn't to be dirt broke. It's, can I be uber wealthy? So I was like, okay, that's a challenge. Let's go there. The challenge isn't how to go through 17 divorces. How do I actually have a lasting marriage that is phenomenal and improves every single day and week? And, the challenge isn't how do I get reactive towards my kids and always triggered? Like, that's an easy game to play. But how do I get into a state where I can be present with my family, super focused, and enjoy being with them without having to think about business stuff all the time? So anything that I resisted, that's what I wanted to learn. For me, it was really easy to do pornography. I was like, sweet, I got that down. I was like, I can be addicted to pornography. 101, teach you how to do it. Versus, can I get into a state where I don't need it or don't even desire it or don't even have to have it, and I can be super loyal and passionate with my spouse and give all that time and energy and love to her? That's the game that I want to play. So anything that was just easy on autopilot, like the natural way, I knew I need to do the opposite. And that's kind of become my passion of how do I get to change very quickly and effectively so that it lasts. So I'm kind of obsessed with that. Hence is why we do this, is I'm always looking for what people resist, what they go towards really easily, and then helping them make that transition so that if it's like, dude, it's really difficult to make $1 million. Okay, cool. Well, let's confront that, figure it out, and go master that. And then next level, next level, next level.
Unlocking the power of the mind, right?
So not the mind. That's the thing that most people teach. So they think it's a mindset game, which the gurus teach that, hey, it's 80% mindset, 20% skills. Now, here's why I got really passionate about this, because I was like, okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to work all the time on my mindset. But here's what happened. Is I developed what's called this equation. It's called the unstoppable equation. So the U represents the speed at which a person attains their goals. That's like saying, hey, if I set a goal right now and by the time I get it, boom, that's you. Some people, it's like a day. Some people, it's a year. Some people, it's never, right? So the speed at which someone attains their goal is represented by the U. Now, most people teach, which is what you're saying, hey, it's just like a mindset thing. So this is where that comes into play. Focus. Like focus is all about the mindset. The F is represented that. So it's like, hey, you just got to get focused, really work your mind, have it to where you can like meditate and have, it's like a muscle, right? Which is true. However, the other piece is work. So you got to put in the work. Like you got to do the work. You got to have the focus. So that's what I focused on a lot was I'm working and I'm focused. And then the next piece was skill set. So if you improve your skill set, it amplifies your work and your focus. And pretty much everybody I learned from just taught this. They're like, improve your skills, work harder and focus, stay focused. And just that you'll do anything, just don't quit. So I did that for years. And then it drove me insane because I was like, this is slow as molasses. Like, holy crap. Like there's gotta be a faster way to make changes and get results. And I would put in 100 amount of effort up here and I'd only get like 10 out. And I was like, dude, I suck. Like, and then I'd be like, oh, I just gotta improve the skills. I just gotta be more focused. I just gotta work more intelligently or harder. And what I found is that underneath this equation, part of this equation is this. And this was the kicker. It's not a mindset thing. It's a body set, which I'm going to describe what that means. It's robbed by allergies and addictions. Fight-flight responses stored at cellular memory in your body. So these are not just from the brain, because you could do hypnosis and all sorts of brain stuff. But if your body is programmed to act or feel a certain way, it's still going to cause chaos. And what I found is that this is the missing piece. If you don't address your fight-flight responses in your body, allergies and addictions. So an allergy, what that is you can be allergic to a certain quantity of money, what that idea represents. Like if I want to make $1 million or $100,000 or keep $100,000 or keep $1 million, that idea could represent something that literally my memory in my body is pushing away. And I will have a physiological response like an allergy to a food. And it literally fights it. It'll put me into self-sabotage. It'll make me distract. I will not be as effective. My body language will show. I won't land the deal. Something will feel off. I'll be like on the edge and they'll be like, oh yeah, everything's great. And then it doesn't work. And they just think it's outside of them, but it's actually inside.
So is this like, I mean, I guess it's a little bit different because it's somebody else, but if one person posts success, like, or, shares success, but then the haters come, the haters are kind of engaged in that, right? They want to sabotage because they can't see that, right? They don't have that belief. So they just,
Any hater always has a fight flight and they're avoiding it. So any type of person who's trying to be bitter, narcissistic, trying to put someone down, it's always because they themselves have a pain that they haven't confronted and they're projecting it onto someone else so that they can feel the ease of that pain, which the pain is trapped as allergies and addictions. So absolutely.
I've seen you do this on a couple people, and it's like, can you describe like the physiology? Because like when you say this, you're like, okay, like I think everybody has a model of allergies and addictions, and like the visual of it, it's remarkable.
It's crazy.
It's
insane.
Crazy to see.
Yeah. So I'll share with you guys a little bit of the technique here in a minute. Let me finish a little bit more on this. So an allergy is something your body is pushing away. It's always like an ideal. So any type of relationship, even with like food and stuff, like any form of a real allergy, you can have mental allergies, emotional allergies, money allergies, love, like anything. So every single word has a vibrational pattern to it based on your past perceptions. For example, I grew up, my dad would say, hey, let's talk. That meant to me, holy crap, something's wrong. I'm in trouble.
oh, shit.
So guess what? I end up marrying my wife whose love language is talking. And so I remember the day after we got married, she like comes up to me and she's like, Tyler, let's talk. And I hear her say talk, but my physiological response is a summation of all the things that I've tied to talking, which is I'm in super trouble. Something bad is about to happen. I'm going to have to save everybody and it's all my fault. So that is an addiction that my body was used to, was the response towards the word talking. Now, I was allergic, literally pushing away what I actually wanted was connection and love. And so the moment she wants connection and love, I push it away. And I'm pushing it away to try to protect myself from previous pains. Now, the crazy thing is we're doing this all the time. Every single day, every person, everywhere. And people wonder why was that person a jerk? Why am I not landing the deal? Why am I stuck at this level? Why should I be further ahead? Well, it's actually just because of a physiological response in your body at a cellular level. And you can reprogram it and change it. And I'm going to show you how. So that's kind of it though. When you can master this part, instead of losing your work and your focus and your skills, you start to get into the state of what's called a flow state, which when you're in a flow state, things just flow. It's like if you've seen athletes and they just get into that flow state, it's like they're not even conscious of it. They just go. In the beginning, you went through a bunch that was awesome. And I wanted to unpack a little bit of that. Yeah. So you talked about balance, right? And how important that is to balance everything. Why is it? We all know that we need balance, right? Why is it that we run away from balance, right? We end up focusing on one thing and just go and yeah. Well, it actually comes down to these fight flight responses in your body, these allergies and addictions. So if somebody's going and saying, hey, I want balance, well, what does that mean to them? What is their association with balance? Maybe in the past, balance has represented pain. Maybe it's represented every time I try to get into a state of balance, I'm not present, I lose income, I have to be super driven and passionate all the time. Otherwise, I can't make ends meet. So balance actually has a negative connotation to them, which in the form of a fight flight triggers the response that says, hey, balance, and your body freaks out. That's bad. Avoid that. Bad idea. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose time. You're going to lose energy. You have to be uber committed, go above and beyond, be super driven. And that's what they associate with it unconsciously. Now, the ideal to balance is I can work smart and intelligently. I can have it all and it's okay. I can literally just be okay having it all. I don't have to feel guilty about it, ashamed of it, worried that someone else doesn't have the result that I do. I don't have to save anybody. I don't have to be afraid of taxes. I don't have to be afraid of somebody coming out and getting me, stealing from me. I can be in a safe of power and safety. So it's figuring out first, what those meanings have towards them, and then triggering that response, which is the part of the process, and then going through and aligning it. which is a series of tapping, breathing, smiling, and specifically saying different words. It's kind of weird, but it works. And I'll show you guys like why it works and the science behind it. So it's like, man, it's just awesome.
Thank you, Tyler. It's been awesome. So good to know you. And pick up that book, everybody. What are you doing? Why are you talking to us?